The skies above Earth darkened as the Collective's warships emerged from hyperspace, their obsidian hulls blocking out the stars. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the International Space Defense Command, her weathered face reflecting in the reinforced glass as she watched humanity's worst fears materialize. The Collective had been monitoring Earth for decades, dismissing humans as primitive beings barely worth acknowledging. Their initial contact 6 months ago had been brief and dismissive, a simple demand for Earth's unconditional surrender and integration into their empire. The human response: a unified message: we respectfully decline. Now the consequences of that defiance loomed above them. Multiple signatures detected. Admiral Lieutenant James Rodriguez reported, his fingers dancing across the holographic display. We're counting over 300 capital ships, with more arriving by the minute. Chen's expression remained stoic, but her mind raced. The Collective's reputation preceded them. They had conquered 17 civilizations across the galaxy, each more advanced than humanity appeared to be. Their technology was centuries ahead of Earth's visible capabilities. Their tactical prowess was legendary. But they had made one critical mistake. They had given Earth time to prepare. Status of Project Prometheus? Chen asked, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Dr. Maya Patel, the project's lead scientist, stepped forward. Her dark eyes gleamed with a mixture of pride and apprehension. All systems are operational, Admiral. The quantum defense grid is fully charged and awaiting activation. The nanoswarm fabricators are ready. Most importantly, she paused, allowing herself a small smile. They still haven't detected any of it. This was humanity's greatest advantage. While the Collective had watched Earth's visible development with contempt, they had missed the hidden revolution happening beneath the surface. For the past 50 years, Earth's greatest minds had worked in secret, developing technologies that defied conventional understanding. The quantum defense grid, capable of redirecting energy attacks through dimensional shortcuts. The nanoswarm fabricators, able to construct advanced weaponry and defenses in minutes rather than months. And most importantly, the consciousness augmentation network that allowed human operators to process information and react at superhuman speeds. They expect to find a primitive species cowering in fear, Chen said, addressing the command staff. Instead, they'll find humanity standing united, armed with weapons and defenses they never imagined we could possess. Today, we show them the price of underestimating Earth. The first wave of Collective ships entered attack formation, their energy weapons charging with an ominous purple glow. They had done this countless times before, a swift, overwhelming strike to shatter any hope of resistance. Their sensors showed only a handful of primitive orbital defense platforms and a scattered fleet of conventional warships. All stations, prepare for engagement, Chen ordered. Activate the quantum grid on my mark. She watched as the enemy ships moved into position, their overconfidence evident in their tight formation. Let them think they have us exactly where they want us. The Collective's first volley lit up the sky, a barrage of energy weapons powerful enough to crack a planet's crust. It was meant to be a demonstration of overwhelming force, designed to break humanity's will to resist. Instead, it became the moment everything changed. Quantum grid active, Dr. Patil announced. The seemingly unstoppable energy beams struck the invisible barrier and vanished. Microseconds later, they reappeared behind the Collective fleet, tearing through their own ships with devastating effect. The enemy's confidence wavered for the first time as dozens of their ships erupted in silent explosions. Before they could regroup, Chen gave her next order: launch the nanoswarms. Across Earth's surface, hidden silos opened, releasing clouds of microscopic machines that began constructing advanced weapon platforms in orbit. The Collective watched in disbelief as their supposedly primitive opponents manifested a defense network that rivaled their own technology. Send the message, Chen commanded. Her voice carried the weight of humanity's determination. Let them know exactly who they're dealing with. The transmission was brief but clear. You thought you found an easy target. Instead, you found humanity. We offered peace. You chose war. Now witness what happens when you underestimate Earth." As chaos erupted among the collective fleet, Shen allowed herself a grim smile. This was only the beginning. The real battle was about to start, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy exactly what they were capable of. The Collected's fleet hung in disarray, their perfect formation shattered by their own redirected weapons. Supreme Commander Vex Thor watched from his flagship's bridge, his crystalline eyes narrowing as he processed this impossible development. Humans were supposed to be primitive, predictable. Instead, they had just demonstrated technology that shouldn't exist. "Analysis," he demanded, his voice resonating with harmonics that betrayed his agitation. His science officer, Krivin, worked frantically at the sensor arrays. "Impossible readings, Commander. They're utilizing quantum manipulation technology far beyond what our intelligence suggested. The energy signatures, they're unlike anything in our database." Meanwhile, in the depths of humanity's Quantum Defense Command beneath the Himalayas, Dr. Maya Patel and her team were pushing their systems to the limit. The massive quantum computers that powered Earth's defenses hummed with energy, their superconducting circuits processing information at speeds that would have seemed magical just decades ago. "The consciousness network is holding steady," she reported to Admiral Chen. "Our operators are successfully predicting and countering their tactical movements before they execute them." The Consciousness Augmentation Network was perhaps humanity's greatest achievement, a system that allowed human operators to process information at superhuman speeds while maintaining their creativity and intuitive decision-making abilities. It had been developed in absolute secrecy, hidden from the Collective's watching eyes. Above them, the battle continued to unfold. The Collected's ships attempted to regroup, but found themselves constantly outmaneuvered. Every tactical decision they made was countered before it could be fully implemented. Their advanced AI systems, which had won countless battles across the galaxy, were being outthought by augmented human minds. "They're attempting to adapt their shield frequencies," Lieutenant Rodriguez announced, his consciousness merged with the defense network, "attempting to prevent our quantum redirection." Admiral Chen nodded. "Just as we expected. Dr. Patel, initiate Phase 2. The nanoswarms that had been constructing defensive platforms suddenly shifted their focus. They began disassembling the platforms, reforming them into something new, massive arrays of quantum resonance projectors. The Collective's analysts watched in horror as their sensor readings went haywire. "What are they doing?" Vex Thor demanded, watching as the human constructs transformed before his eyes. The answer came in the form of a devastating attack. The quantum resonance projectors fired, not with energy weapons or conventional explosives, but with carefully calculated waves of quantum interference. The Collective's shields, designed to stop energy and matter, were useless against these fundamental disturbances in space-time itself. Ships began to lose power as their quantum cores were disrupted. Advanced weapons systems went offline as their delicate calibrations were thrown into chaos. The mighty Collective fleet, which had never known defeat, found itself being systematically disabled by an enemy they had grossly underestimated. "This is impossible," Krivin whispered, watching as their supposedly inferior opponents demonstrated mastery over principles of physics that the Collective had only begun to theorize about. Back in the command center, Admiral Chen watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. "Send the second wave," she ordered. "Show them what else we've been hiding." From concealed bases across the solar system, humanity's true fleet emerged. These weren't the primitive ships the Collective had observed during their surveillance. These were vessels built with technology that had been developed and refined in secret for decades. Ships that combined the best of human ingenuity with discoveries that had been carefully hidden from prying eyes. "Remember," Chen broadcast to all commands, "we only need to hold them here long enough for the final phase to be ready. Every minute we buy brings us closer to victory." Dr. Patel looked up from her monitors. "The quantum entanglement matrix is at 60% charge. Admiral, we'll need another 30 minutes to reach full power." Chen nodded. 30 minutes. They needed to keep the collective occupied and off balance for just 30 more minutes. Then they would reveal their ultimate surprise, a weapon that would change the nature of warfare itself. Status of the consciousness network, she asked. Operating at peak efficiency, Paddle replied. The neural load is high, but our operators are handling it. The predictive algorithms are giving us a significant tactical advantage. The battle continued to rage across Earth's orbit, but it was unlike any space combat the galaxy had ever witnessed. The collective's overwhelming technological advantage had been neutralized by humanity's quantum manipulation technology. Their superior numbers meant little against an enemy that could redirect their own weapons against them. Their advanced AI was being outthought by augmented human minds that combined machine-speed processing with human creativity and intuition. And still, humanity's greatest weapon remained hidden, charging quietly as the battle raged on. 30 minutes. Just 30 minutes until they could show the collective and the galaxy exactly what humanity was capable of when pushed too far. Supreme Commander Vex Thor paced the bridge of his flagship, his crystalline form casting fractured reflections across the polished deck. The battle had become a nightmare of impossibilities. Half his fleet was disabled, their quantum cores disrupted by human weapons that shouldn't exist. The other half was fighting an enemy that seemed to anticipate their every move. Status of the emergency quantum realignment, he demanded. Partially successful, Kraven reported, his usual confidence shattered. We've restored power to 30% of the affected ships, but the humans are adapting their interference patterns faster than we can compensate. In Earth's Quantum Command Center, Admiral Chen watched the tactical displays with focused intensity. The consciousness network was providing real-time updates from thousands of augmented operators, their enhanced minds processing battlefield data at superhuman speeds. Quantum entanglement matrix at 85%, Dr. Patil announced. 15 minutes until full charge. Chen nodded. Status of Operation Phoenix. Lieutenant Rodriguez, his consciousness still merged with the defense network, responded instantly. All preparations are complete. The targeted ships are in position. We're ready to execute on your command. The Admiral allowed herself a small smile. The collective was about to learn another lesson about human ingenuity. They had assumed their quantum technology was beyond humanity's understanding. They were wrong. Execute Operation Phoenix, Chen ordered. Across the battlefield, seemingly disabled human ships suddenly burst into action. The collective had assumed they were destroyed, their quantum cores disrupted beyond repair. Instead, they had been playing dead, gathering data on the enemy's shield frequencies and weapon configurations. Multiple human vessels reactivating. Kraven shouted. They've modified their quantum signatures to match our own systems. The disabled ships opened fire with weapons specifically calibrated to bypass the collective's defenses. Their shields, designed to block any foreign energy signature, were useless against attacks that perfectly mimic their own technology. Impossible, Vex Thor raged. They couldn't have decoded our quantum configuration so quickly. But they had. The consciousness network had allowed human operators to analyze and decrypt the collective's quantum signatures in real time. Every disabled ship had been feeding data back to Earth's quantum computers, which had then synthesized perfect replications of the enemy's technology. 10 minutes to full charge, Dr. Paddle reported. The massive quantum entanglement matrix hummed beneath their feet, drawing power from hidden reactors across the planet. Chen activated the fleet-wide comm. All ships, execute containment protocol. Don't let them retreat. They need to be here when we activate the matrix. The human fleet moved with perfect coordination, their actions guided by the combined intelligence of thousands of augmented minds working in harmony. They herded the collected ships into a specific region of space, using their quantum weapons to disable any that try to escape. What are they doing? Kraven asked, watching the tactical display with growing dread. This formation, it's too precise to be random. Vex Thor felt a chill in his crystalline core. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were positioning his fleet for something. Something big. 5 minutes, Patil announced. The quantum entanglement matrix's charge had reached critical levels. The very fabric of space-time was beginning to twist around Earth. In orbit, the nanoswarms had completed their final transformation. The defensive platforms had become massive quantum resonance arrays, all perfectly aligned with the matrix below. The trap was almost ready. "Commander," Kreven's voice was filled with panic. "I'm detecting a massive quantum buildup from the planet's surface. The energy readings, they're beyond anything in our records." Vexthor finally understood. This hadn't been just a battle. It had been a carefully orchestrated plan to keep them in position for something much bigger. "All ships, emergency retreat," he ordered. "Get us out of here." But it was too late. "Matrix at full charge," Patil reported. "Ready to initiate on your command, Admiral." Chen took a deep breath. This weapon had never been tested at full scale. The simulations suggested it would work, but the actual effects might be far more devastating than they had calculated. "Send the final message," she ordered. The transmission reached every ship in the Collective's fleet. "You came to our world believing us weak. You thought your technology made you invincible. Now witness the price of that arrogance." "Activate the quantum entanglement matrix," Chen commanded. The massive arrays in orbit aligned with the matrix below, creating a web of quantum connections that encompassed the entire battlefield. Space itself seemed to shudder as the weapon activated. The collected ships found themselves caught in a quantum entanglement field unlike anything ever created. Their advanced technology, which had made them seemingly invincible, was about to become their greatest weakness. The final phase of humanity's defense was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The quantum entanglement matrix activated, and space itself seemed to hold its breath. For a fraction of a second, nothing happened. Then reality buckled. Every ship in the Collective's fleet suddenly found itself quantum entangled with every other ship. Their advanced technology, which relied on precise quantum states, became their undoing. Each attempt to fire a weapon, adjust shields, or even move affected every vessel simultaneously. "What's happening?" Vexthor demanded, watching in horror as his fleet descended into chaos. Ships collided with each other, their navigation systems hopelessly entangled. Weapons fired randomly, the quantum uncertainty making it impossible to target effectively. "The humans," Kraven whispered, his sensor readings making less sense by the second. "They've created a massive quantum entanglement field. Our ships, they're all connected. Every system, every quantum circuit." In Earth's command center, Dr. Patel monitored the matrix's effects with intense concentration. "Field stability at 98%, she reported. "The entanglement is spreading exactly as predicted." Admiral Chen watched the tactical displays as the Collective's mighty fleet tore itself apart. Ships fired on their allies, unable to distinguish friend from foe through the quantum uncertainty. Others simply shut down, their quantum cores falling into impossible states that violated the laws of physics as the Collective understood them. "Now for Phase 2, Chen ordered. "Activate the consciousness network integration." This was humanity's masterstroke. The quantum entanglement didn't just affect the Collective's ships. It created a bridge that Earth's augmented operators could exploit. Through the consciousness network, human minds began seeping into the Collective's quantum systems. "No," Vexthor shouted as foreign thoughts invaded his ship's computers. "How are they doing this? How can they be in our systems?" The answer was both simple and devastating. The Collective had built their entire civilization on quantum technology, assuming no other species could match their mastery of it. But humans hadn't just matched it. They had fundamentally reimagined how it could be used. "All operators, begin system override," Chen commanded. Through the consciousness network, thousands of augmented human minds surged into the entangled Collective ships. They weren't just disabling the enemy vessels, they were taking control of them. "Admiral," Rodriguez reported, his consciousness spread across dozens of captured ships, "we're gaining control of their primary systems. weapons, propulsion, life support. It's all responding to our commands. The Collective's mighty invasion force was being turned against itself. Ships that had come to conquer Earth were now under human control, their quantum-based systems completely subverted by the entanglement field. "Commander," Kraven's voice was frantic. "We're losing everything. The humans, they're not just disrupting our systems. They're rewriting them. They understand our technology better than we do." Vexthor stood frozen on his bridge, watching his invasion force disintegrate. The humans hadn't just developed countermeasures to collective technology. They had developed entirely new ways of using it, ways that the Collective, for all their supposed superiority, had never imagined. "Send the surrender signal," he finally ordered, his voice hollow with defeat, "before there's nothing left to surrender." In the Quantum Command Center, Admiral Chen received the Collective's transmission. The mighty alien fleet, which had arrived expecting an easy conquest, was now at Earth's mercy. "Should we accept their surrender?" Rodriguez asked. Chen's expression was stern. "Yes, but on our terms. They came here thinking we were primitive. They'll leave knowing exactly what humanity is capable of." The quantum entanglement field slowly powered down, leaving the Collective's fleet in ruins. Ships that hadn't been captured or destroyed drifted helplessly, their quantum cores permanently altered by the experience. Dr. Patel looked up from her monitors. "The Matrix performed beyond our expectations. Admiral, we didn't just defeat their technology. We evolved it. The data we've gathered, it's going to change everything." Chen nodded. This victory wasn't just about defending Earth. It was about showing the galaxy that humanity was ready to take its place among the stars. Not as conquerors like the Collective, but as innovators who could reimagine the very principles that advanced civilizations were built upon. "Begin recovery operations," she ordered, "and prepare a full analysis of everything we've learned." The Collective thought they were coming to conquer a primitive world. Instead, they'd given us the keys to the galaxy. The battle was over, but its implications were just beginning to unfold. Humanity had not only defended itself, it had demonstrated a level of technological innovation that would send shockwaves through the galaxy. The species that the Collective had dismissed as primitive had just rewritten the rules of quantum warfare. And this was only the beginning. News of Earth's victory spread across the galaxy like a shockwave. The supposedly primitive humans hadn't just defeated the Collective, they had revolutionized quantum warfare itself. In the days following the battle, representatives from dozens of spacefaring civilizations arrived in Earth's solar system, not to threaten, but to negotiate. Admiral Chen stood in the newly constructed Galactic Embassy in Geneva, watching as alien diplomats filed into the Grand Chamber. Some were former victims of the Collective's expansion, others were neutral observers, and a few were former allies of the defeated empire. All of them had come to understand exactly what had happened above Earth. "The quantum entanglement matrix is already being studied by 17 different species," Dr. Patel reported, stepping up beside Chen. "Our breakthrough in consciousness network integration has completely changed how they view quantum technology." Chen nodded. "And the Collective's response? Their High Council has officially sued for peace. The terms we dictated have been accepted without modification. They're withdrawing from all conquered territories and agreeing to oversight of their military activities." The aftermath of the battle had been swift and decisive. The Collective's aura of invincibility had been shattered, not just by their defeat, but by the manner of it. Humanity hadn't simply defended itself, it had demonstrated mastery over principles of physics that the Collective had thought they alone understood. "Commander Vexthor has requested a meeting," Lieutenant Rodriguez announced, approaching with a datapad. "He says he wants to understand how we did it." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Arrange it." It's time they learned the full story. The truth was both simpler and more complex than anyone had imagined. Humanity hadn't developed their quantum technology in isolation. They had been watching and learning from every spacefaring race they could detect. While the collective had seen only primitive satellites and basic space stations, humans had been analyzing and improving upon alien technologies for decades. In the secured quantum labs beneath the embassy, researchers from Earth worked alongside alien scientists, sharing knowledge and pushing the boundaries of what was possible. The consciousness network, once Earth's greatest secret, was now being adapted for species with entirely different neural structures. The Arcturian delegation is particularly interested in our nanoswarm technology, Patel continued. They've offered an exchange of knowledge that could advance our understanding of dark matter manipulation. This was humanity's true victory, not just defending Earth, but opening the door to a new era of galactic cooperation. The species that had been dismissed as primitive was now leading a technological revolution. In orbit, the recovered collective ships were being studied and improved upon. Human engineers, their minds linked through the consciousness network, worked to integrate their quantum innovations with alien technology. Each breakthrough led to new possibilities, new ways of pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Admiral Rodriguez called out, "We're receiving a priority transmission from the Centauri expedition." The first human ships to venture beyond the solar system had departed just days after the battle, carrying the new quantum technology to the stars. They were humanity's ambassadors, not conquerors like the collective, but explorers and innovators. "Put it through," Chen ordered. The holographic display showed Captain Sarah Martinez, her eyes bright with excitement. "Admiral, we've made contact with a previously unknown civilization in the Centauri system. They'd been watching both us and the collective for years, waiting to see who would prove worthy of contact. Our victory, it wasn't just about defending Earth. It was a test." Chen's eyes widened. "A test?" "Yes, Admiral. They say they've been seeding quantum technology throughout the galaxy for millennia, watching to see which species would understand its true potential. The collective used it for conquest. We used it to defend and innovate. They want to show us what else is possible." The implications were staggering. Humanity's victory hadn't just changed their place in the galaxy. It had unlocked doors they hadn't even known existed. The quantum technology they have developed was just the beginning. "Send word to the Council," Chen ordered. "Tell them to prepare for another leap forward." As she looked out over the bustling embassy, watching humans and aliens working together to forge a new future, Chen reflected on how far they had come. The collective had arrived expecting to find a primitive species ready for conquest. Instead, they had found humanity, innovative, adaptable, and ready to take their place among the stars. The battle was over, but humanity's journey was just beginning. They had proven themselves not just as defenders of their world, but as pioneers of a new age of galactic civilization. The species that had been underestimated had become the one that would help reshape the galaxy itself. And somewhere out there, watching and waiting, were others who had seen humanity's potential and deemed them worthy of even greater knowledge. The next chapter in human history was about to begin, and this time, they would be the ones leading the way into the unknown.